Something is shifting in NASCAR right now, and if you've been watching closely, you can feel it. It's not loud, it's not official, but it's happening. Every so often in this sport, a driver goes from being just a story to becoming a real problem for the entire garage. Not hype, not potential, but actual threat. And right now, we are watching that transformation unfold in real time. Because NASCAR is not just about speed anymore. It's about survival, adaptation, consistency. And when those things start changing around a driver, the entire tone of the garage changes with it. And that's exactly what's happening here. Before we get into it, if you're a real NASCAR fan, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We're building a channel for fans who actually follow the sport week to week, not just highlight clips. Now let's talk about what's going on. Because this story is bigger than just one driver. It's about Kyle Busch. Yeah, that Kyle Busch. A two-time Cup Series champion. One of the most aggressive, dominant, and successful drivers NASCAR has seen in the modern era. A driver who once made winning look routine. But right now, he is in a place nobody expected. Kyle Busch is sitting on a 1-0-0 race winless streak. And let that sink in. 100 races. For a driver who built his entire identity around winning, dominating, and controlling races, this is not just a slump. This is a complete shift in reality. When Kyle Busch left Joe Gibbs Racing and moved to Childress Racing, it looked like a reset, a fresh start, a chance to rebuild momentum in a new environment. And for a moment, it worked. He got early wins. He looked competitive. He reminded everyone that Kyle Busch was still Kyle Busch. But then everything slowed down. No wins in 2024, no wins in 2025, and now, 7 races into 2026, still nothing. And this isn't just about wins anymore. It's about performance. Kyle Busch is currently outside the top tier in points. His finishes are inconsistent. And for the first time in a very long time, he is not being talked about as a championship threat. That's the real shock, because NASCAR has seen slumps before. But this feels different. It feels like time is catching up. And the numbers don't lie. This is now the longest winless stretch of his entire career. Even during his toughest years before, he never experienced anything close to this level of drought. And now the bigger questions are starting to appear. Is this just a phase? Or is this the beginning of the end of his Cup Series dominance? Because here's where things get even more complicated. Kyle Busch is in a contract year. He's turning 41. And NASCAR is moving faster than ever. Teams are focusing on development, youth, and long-term building. And even though experience still matters, results matter more. That's the reality of modern NASCAR. At the same time, Childress Racing is not operating at the same level as the powerhouse organizations in the sport. That doesn't mean they aren't competitive, but it does mean the margin for success is smaller. And when a driver like Kyle Busch isn't winning in a top-tier environment, the questions become unavoidable. Is it the car? Is it the driver? Or is it both? Because NASCAR doesn't wait for answers forever. And now, with silly season approaching, everything is getting louder. 5 possible paths are already being discussed across the garage. First, staying at Childress Racing, the simplest option, but also the one that depends heavily on performance turning around quickly. Second, Spire Motorsports, a team growing fast, building structure, and already connected to Busch through past partnerships. There's history there. And in NASCAR, history matters. Third, Hendrick Motorsports. A long shot, but not impossible. It's where Kyle Busch started his Cup journey. And if a seat opens, even legends sometimes return to familiar places. Fourth, Legacy Motor Club. Toyota-backed. Expanding. Rebuilding. A team trying to create long-term stability. If Busch wants a fresh direction while staying in competitive equipment, this could make sense. And fifth, stepping away from Cup competition entirely. Not retiring from racing, but shifting focus. Possibly running trucks. Possibly picking selective races. Possibly redefining his career instead of ending it. But here's the truth. None of these options feel settled yet. Because Kyle Busch still believes he can win. And more importantly, he still believes he should win. The problem is, NASCAR is not waiting for belief anymore. It's waiting for results. And that brings us to the most important moment of all, what happens next. Because the next few races could completely change this conversation. Tracks like Bristol are coming up, places where Kyle Busch has dominated in the past. If there is any track where he can break this streak, it's there. And if he does, everything resets. The narrative changes instantly. But if he doesn't, the pressure doesn't just continue, it multiplies. Because in NASCAR, perception changes fast. One good race can bring hope, but a long drought changes legacy conversations. And right now, Kyle Busch is standing right at that line between both worlds. Not retired, not dominant, not irrelevant, but stuck in the most dangerous place a driver can be, in between eras, where the past is legendary, but the future is uncertain. And that's why this story matters so much. Because this isn't just about stats. It's about identity. A driver who once defined winning, now fighting to prove he still belongs in that conversation. So the question is simple. Is Kyle Busch about to turn this around and remind everyone who he is? Or are we watching the final chapter of one of NASCAR's greatest careers slowly take shape? Either way, the next move will matter. A lot more than people think.